Viva Las Vegas, baby. There's a great quote from journalist and author J.R. Moringer. While I was busy hating Vegas and hiding from Vegas, a funny thing happened. I fell in love with Vegas. This is a city with reputations, plural. Good, bad, ugly, crazy, loathsome, heavenly. Las Vegas is, above all, a place of power. The power to bend minds, bend space, time, reality itself, to manifest a dimension completely separate from anything you may recognize as normal life. It's a place that has the ability to fold every culture, every era, every carnal desire, every outlandish fantasy together into one strange, intense, but ultimately amazing experience. I can't think of a single other place on Earth where one can visit ancient Egypt, the French Revolution, medieval Europe, and Staten Island all in one 2-mile stretch. But hey, that's Vegas. Around here, if you can dream it, you can do it. And according to the local tourism board at least, whatever happens here will stay here, forever sealed in the luscious lips of this tempestuous desert vixen. There's an experience here to fit any bill, from budget to baller and everything in between. But needless to say, if you're not ready for a complete freefall into absolute temptation, you will be chewed up and spat out. Just another casualty in a long line of ill-fated souls to have played a hand with Lady Luck and lost. It seems that everything in Vegas begins and ends on the Strip. It truly is a sight to behold at any time, day or night. What strikes you first upon your arrival is the sheer and utter bigness. In person, what are technically termed casino resorts look like entire cities, nigh continents unto themselves. And this perception isn't wrong. For many, their time here is spent within these four walls. Each of these enterprising titans presents its guests with a thoroughly inclusive experience, replete with world-class dining, enticing gaming floors, incredible shows, day spas, and pretty much anything else you could ever desire. During the day, the Strip even feels like a somewhat family-friendly destination, if such a thing is even possible in a town known internationally as Sin City. If you're here to simply get away from it all, shacking up in one of these enormities isn't necessarily a bad option. It's certainly convenient to walk in one door, have the time of your life, and walk out again, having not ventured further than a quarter mile in any given direction. However, the Strip does offer a bit more than just life inside a single cozy box. Wait until the sun descends and this so-called Strip turns on in a way only a heathen demigod could imagine. Lights, colors, sights, smells, they all become a blur of sensation designed to lull you into a state of reckless abandon. The Vegas Strip at night is an incredibly weird place to me. All at once rebellious and corporate, free-spirited and market-driven, pure unrefined lust, and targeted marketing practices. The bring your kids facade of the daytime cracks and falls away, revealing something decadent, sinful, something that revels in the taboo, the deviant, the downright irresponsible. But when you back all of that with the sensible, streamlined nature of a multinational hospitality empire, it creates an atmosphere that is totally and uniquely Vegas. Love it or hate it, the Strip is truly and absolutely an adult playground. But it's so vast, so well-equipped, so immersive that I would argue it is far more than that. It is an alternate reality. A reality where nothing is sacred and all is permitted. Any whim or want can be satiated at any time. On the Strip, you can stumble through a surreal greatest hits of humanity's foremost achievements and cultures, all while clutching a $22 cocktail in a plastic rocket shell. Some will love it, some will hate it. I believe that everyone should experience it at least once. Whether you visit the Strip is entirely up to you, but before you decide, consider that there may be more to this town than a drunken, poker-fueled jaunt through a plaster-cast world of pale imitations. I would argue that beyond the facades, beyond the gambling, the bottomless cocktails, and the scantily clad girls of many talents, Vegas is actually a world-class travel destination with broad appeal, even for the tempered and seasoned traveler. Why would I think such a thing? I'm glad you asked. Reason numero uno: experiences. While many of the things that you can do in Vegas might be considered silly, superfluous, or outright scandalous, the range of activities on offer here is nothing short of staggering. Everything from a private helicopter flight to bungee jumping is no more than a phone call away. But there is one thing that I personally have always been drawn to. There's something you should know about me. I love cars, like a lot. And that's where a little place called Speed Vegas comes in. Tucked away about 10 miles south of the Strip, Speed Vegas is a gearhead's dream come true. It's a mile and a half of perfectly groomed raceway, a fleet of top-of-the-line supercars, and you. Select your ride from a dazzling array of the world's finest. Of course, if imported sports cars aren't your bag, you are free to race in purpose-built off-road trucks or their tuned Mustang drift car, your choice. In any case, once you're checked in at the front, the wonderful staff run you through a safety briefing, pair you with an instructor, and then it's off to the races, pun intended. Most people never get the opportunity to see cars like these in person, let alone sit in them, drive them, or God forbid race them on a private racetrack at 140 miles an hour. Take this, the Ferrari 488 GTB, for instance. It's poetry on wheels. An opulent racehorse, long-legged with a refined sense of bigness about it, smooth in the corners and brutal in the straights. The Ferrari contrasts nicely to, say, a Lamborghini Huracan. That is all angles, points, and aggression, a mad dog just waiting for a chance to steal your gambling money, or worse. Now, this may cost a fair bit. Individual laps start at around $100 on average, but if you're into this sort of thing, it is a thrill you'd get nowhere else on Earth at any price, short of the $250,000 it costs to buy a vehicle like this. Only in Vegas. All right, you're saying you can drive fancy cars here. What of it? I could care less about a steaming pile of Italian horsepower. Well, my friend, fear not. Because if there's one thing we all need to do, it's eat. And in Vegas, realizing your wildest culinary desires is as simple as pulling up Google Maps. There are very few places anywhere that offer this breadth and depth of gourmet excellence. It would seem that world-renowned celebrity chefs have something of an obsession with opening as many restaurants here as possible. Gordon Ramsay alone has 4, and his namesake burger joint is more than worth the 45-minute wait. But while there's plenty of simpler fare to go around on the Strip, there's also the opportunity to take part in dining experiences reserved for the privileged few. In my case, this came in the form of a seating for 2 at L'Atelier de Jules Robuchon. One of 2 restaurants created by a man hailed as the greatest chef of the 20th century, the open kitchen of this Michelin-starred modern French bistro offers up some of the most creative and inspired dishes anywhere in the world. This is food that makes you almost hesitate. It's as if you're taking a bite out of an original Miro. If you do choose to splurge here, book your seats weeks in advance, set aside at least 3 hours of your night, and just go for the 9-course seasonal tasting menu. You will not be let down. But you also don't have to spend hundreds or plan months in advance to have a great meal in Vegas either. While there's tons of options at all price points on the Strip, I'd recommend stepping off Las Vegas Boulevard and doing a little bit of exploring. A great place to start is Vegas's Chinatown. While it's not exactly designed for touristic strolling, it is home to dozens of seriously authentic Asian restaurants, all serving up amazing items at great prices. It's also an awesome excuse to take a break from the casino floors and see Vegas from a more local point of view. But regardless of what you choose, the sheer size of the menu in this town is something truly extraordinary. Given the reputation of Las Vegas, it can be easy to just assume that there's little more to this town than the 2 miles between Circus and Mandalay Bay. And to a certain type of person, that may well be the case, but don't be that guy. Sure, the Strip is fun for some, but Vegas has culture as well, real, serious, fun culture. And it lives on a fabulous little street called Fremont. Running through the heart of Vegas's downtown, Fremont Street is decidedly its own little world. Where the Strip is massive but a bit impersonal, Fremont Street is intimate but a bit insane. You can, of course, gamble here and partake in many of the same activities as you can on the Strip, but it's much more entertaining to just stroll and people watch. Start on the east end of the street at the Container Park, a charming marketplace constructed entirely of shipping containers. Then start your crawl westward towards the heart of downtown. The entirety of Fremont could fit inside a single courtyard of one of the bigger casinos, but it has 1,000 times the character and personality. Street magicians, busking musicians, dancers, and showgirls all wander and entertain, and a few times every hour, the street pauses to turn their collective gaze upwards to observe a truly fantastic spectacle, the Fremont Street Experience. What you're seeing here is the world's largest single screen, fashioned into a megalithic ceiling for the casinos, shops, and restaurants underneath. In many cases, they would use this purely for advertising. And while it does serve that purpose on occasion, its main job is to present the truly epic show that takes over the street multiple times per night. If you feel yourself searching for an identity to this town, for something more personal and authentic than the hordes of plastic cups and billboards that litter the Strip, Fremont Street is exactly what you're looking for. Beyond all of it, beyond the casinos, the shows, the nightlife, the food, the experiences, there is just one final thing I want every visitor to Vegas to keep in mind. Even if you break free of the Strip and do some exploring, you're likely to forget one key detail about this city. Vegas is located in the heart of the Mojave Desert, one of the most stark, striking, and fascinating ecosystems in the world. If you find yourself getting a bit weary from all the whining and dining, do yourself a favor. Rent a car and get on I-15 north. Keep an eye out for the signs that will lead you to a place called the Valley of Fire. And then, after a short drive off the freeway, find yourself gasping, surrounded by one of the most surreal landscapes in North America. From there, head south through the park to the shores of the grand and gorgeous Lake Mead. Continuing down Highway 157, also keep a lookout for any one of the striking oasis-like desert springs, where thermal waters erupt and surround themselves with almost tropical flora and fauna. From there, the road will finally dump you out at the site of one of the most popular day trips from Vegas, the world-famous Hoover Dam. While it may sound a bit boring to some, it's truly a marvel of engineering, especially when you account for the fact that it was built in the 1930s. If you're a nature lover, this easy and quick drive will show you a whole other side to the Vegas area. It's barely 3 hours all the way around, and the cost is little more than the park entrance fee, provided you have a car available. It's just another incredibly cool and unexpected adventure that makes Vegas so much more than just a strip of hyped-up casinos and clubs. Let's get one thing straight here. When it comes to the great cities of the world, their reputations are usually hard-earned and well-deserved. When you mention a trip to Vegas to anyone, it will likely be met with a mischievous grin and predictable barbs about unscrupulous activities. And sure, if you land in McCarran and head straight to the Aria to check in with the intention of never leaving the Strip, you will have the same guaranteed good time as millions of other vacationers. You will drink the same drinks, eat the same foods, see the same shows, play at the same tables, relax in the same hot tubs. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. The massive conglomerates that run these places are incredibly good at streamlining the guest experience into a predictably delightful series of entrancing events. While you're on cloud nine, the staff are smiling, ticking boxes, and occupying themselves with turnover rates and advertising strategies. This is the Vegas stereotype, a towering corporate monument to all the things that we can't have in our everyday lives. But if you find yourself here, I would gently remind you that there's always more to a place than meets the eye. Take a step away from the tourist traps and you may just find something you didn't expect. Culture, nature, a sense of authenticity. It's something we should all do as travelers. Push beyond what you've read about in the reviews and seen on TV. Do this here and you'll be delighted to find that in this desert oasis, not everything is as it seems. It's the kind of thing I was hoping to find here. And with a bit of effort, I did. And that is exactly the way it should be.